Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Tuesday, July 16th. Like always, I'm your guy, Hector, joined by my compañero this morning. I got the fly guy, Damian Serrano. And all you Yankee fans, wake up and get your coffee. And just to let you guys know, Grace is on the way. She's just running a few minutes late. But Damian, how you feeling, bro?
I'm good, brother. How you doing? I'm getting some good R&R, mental relief. So let's go.
Yes. Same. You know, Yankees aren't playing, but like you said, it's a little bit of some R&R mental relief.
Yeah.
You know, we got to get into the last game against the Orioles. That was horrible. We'll get into that blunder. We'll get into the conversations about the the All-Star weekend, about the home run derby, about the trade deadline, about all these different things that are going on in Yankees universe. I just want to shout out the chat real quick. If I can, shout out to my guy Chop Low in the building. Uncle Chop, how you doing? Old Sarge is in the building. My friend Sierra Poteet is in the building. Sierra says, good morning. Hope everyone has recovered from the nightmare of Alex Verdugo laying on the ground in grass and left field. Sierra, it's never over. It's never over.
I have not
Frankie
recovered.
Rivera is in the building. Dev Finch, how you doing? Anjos NYK. Big Lou is in the building. Big time Jerry, nosebleed section. Appreciate everybody who showed up. My guy Rodney Green, if you guys don't mind, please hit that subscribe button. We are at 4,405 subscribers on our way to 5K. So help us out. We are on our way to 5K. Help us by hitting the subscribe button. Help us by hitting the like button, interacting with the emojis. On the last episode, it was a phenomenal show. I'll get to the mailbag questions from the last week's show. And going forward, if you guys are watching this in the replay, comment in the comment section, right? Let us know any comments that you guys have, any questions. And on the next show, we will bring it up. So before that's said and done, Damian, what is going on with the Yankees right now? Damian, talk to the people. Talk to me nice.
I don't know about nice, but listen, Clay Holmes is Clay Holmes, right? We already know what's up with Clay. We already know what he does. He's cardiac Clay, and he lives up to every moment. Listen, 21 saves out of 28. That's not a good ratio. He leads the league in blown saves.
Mm-hmm.
And say what you want, okay? Volpe, obviously huge blunder. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Doogie, the last thing we know, he's laying on his stomach on the middle of a field because he fell 2 or 3 times. But that none of that happens without Clay Holmes putting the stress on that team. All right. And I was thinking back to myself. I said, can I remember one game that Clay Holmes had a clean inning? And I'm really trying hard to remember one. And I can't remember it. Chat, does anybody remember a clean inning?
I just had a brain fart. Trying to figure out. And you're right. I don't remember that. I think there was one outing he had, and that was when he was 19 scoreless innings. I think back then he had a 1-2-3, a couple 1-2-3 outings. But besides that, It's been a very long time. We got Grace backstage. Grace, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to rock out, and I'll bring you up to the panel. All right, Grace is ready to go. So let me bring up Grace. Grace Monroe, how are you doing? Good morning, Grace.
Hey, y'all. I'm sorry I'm late. I tried to get here as soon as I could. My heart's beating because I was trying to set up all my cameras and everything, and I'm like, they're talking about Clay Holmes. I got to get in there.
Grace is totally fine. Hope all is well with you. You heard Damian bring up Clay Holmes, so let's get your thoughts on Mr. Clay Holmes. Folks in the chat, let us know your thoughts about Mr. Cardiac Clay.
Before she starts, I just want to say, can we get him a mental, physical sports therapist? And if they have one already, can they get a new one? That's it.
Got him. Damian, you know me so well at this point. You're like, before Grace starts. Before here goes Grace. All right, y'all, I wrote down a couple things about Holmes. And let me tell you, I've calmed down quite a bit since Sunday, you know. Hi, old Sarge. Warface. Yeah, when the red lipstick's on, business about to get done. But yeah, I've calmed down quite a bit since Sunday. You know, there is a bright side, which I want to get to eventually on the show today. But for right now, let me say, I looked it up and I heard Damian mention this already, that Holmes has the most blown saves in baseball. I looked it up. He has 6 blown saves so far before the All-Star break. And most closers have, most good closers have like 2 or 3 for the whole season. Okay, so Holmes has 6 already. He's tied for that most blown saves in baseball with the Rockies closer, whose team sucks. Right? Let's just call a spade a spade. Okay, so we've got 6 blown saves, and let me tell you this: Mason Miller. I know I'm going to trigger everybody. Mason Miller has 2 blown saves, and his team is garbage. Okay? Tanner Scott has 2 blown saves, and his team also similarly is garbage. We're talking about the Marlins. We're talking about the A's. Okay? Both of those closers have 2 blown saves. Now, I want to get Tanner Scott. I think we are trying to get Tanner Scott. I think he would be a huge upgrade for the bullpen. It would be amazing. But I want to say, with 6 blown saves already before the All-Star break, how many games are we out of first place? 1. 1 game out of first place. So let's say Clay only had 5.
Wait, I'm sorry. Grace, how many blown saves? I just want to, for my mental capacity. How many
6.
blown saves?
6.
Okay, and how many games were behind?
1.
Okay, all right.
1.
So we should be at least 3 games up, maybe.
Period.
Right? 4,
Period, Damien. Period, Damien. That's exactly where I'm going with this. If he was even an average closer, we would be in first place. If he was a good closer, we would have a 4-game lead on the Baltimore Orioles. Okay? Now, I'm not the best at math, but I can.
Oh, seemed like the Wi-Fi cut out too at the same time, right? When she said, I'm not the best at math, but I'm not the best in Wi-Fi either. Go ahead, Grace.
No, I'm sorry. And you know, anyway, let me back to the point.
Go ahead.
This is what I think. You can either pitch to contact or you can walk batters, but you can't do both. You can't walk batters and pitch to contact when you have traffic on the bases. That's just a recipe for blown saves. It's a recipe for a high ERA, or his whip is way over 1. I mean, it is not it's not a winning recipe. I'm sure Damien's just waiting to say mentally weak. But you either got to strike them out and walk them, or pitch to contact, no walks. That's it. I'm done for now.
Yeah, I want to highlight some chats before I throw it over to Damien to give his response. But throw the emojis in the chat and hit that like button for Grace, because Grace, ella está cocinando. She is cooking. She's cooking right now. My guy Truth always says, "What's up with TC?" Just so that you guys know, TC he had to switch up his work schedule, so he can't join us in the morning. But you guys know TC is always a member of the Morning Brew family, always a member of Yankees Morning Brew. And whenever he has free time, whether it's the nighttime and we do Twitter Spaces or we do Yankee shows, TC is always there if he's available. So again, he had to switch up his work schedule in the morning time. TC is my brother. I wish he was still here, but again, real life happens, and you got to handle it when it comes. Medina's in the building. Medina says, shout out to my guy Anthony Medina, who says Clay is not a closer. A closer usually has swing and miss stuff.
Hey,
and
heck,
he obviously doesn't have that.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right.
Go ahead, brother. No worries.
Right.
Let me just switch this up real quick while we wait for Damien to come back to join us. 1 second. Yeah, I gotta agree with Anthony Medina right there for everything that you laid out, Grace, because when you look at it, he is not a strikeout pitcher. He is not a guy that has swing and miss stuff. And when you look at the Yankees bullpen, the Yankees are bottom 10 last time I checked. We are at the bottom when it comes to striking guys out when it comes to our relievers. And you know, in the postseason, it'd be a difference because Sierra brought it up talking about this infield's defense. And I agree with Sierra, right? Because how many of those blown saves have been because of the infield? And that is a specific point, and that is a great point. Because when you look at it, we can get away with Clay Holmes if we had the 2009 Yankees infield. If we had Robinson Cano, who was a Gold Glover at at second base, Mark Teixeira, a Gold Glover at first base, and then A-Rod and Jeter. If we had that infield, you can get away with Clay Holmes. But when you have an infield that has Gleyber Torres, who is a below-average defender, Ben Rice, who was converting from a catcher to first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, he was looking like a shell of himself to start the season, and then you got DJ LeMahieu and the musical chairs that's been third base, and then you got our catching situation. When you mix all of that together with a closer who doesn't have swing and miss stuff, you are going to get this outcome. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of blown saves. You're going to get a lot of sloppy defense, and you're going to get every fan pointing the finger at every player saying he's a problem, and he's a problem, when the issue should have been addressed before the season started by the front office.
I feel like I agree with you. I feel like, however, if you put two base runners on by walking, you're in trouble.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
You're setting yourself up. It doesn't matter how good your infielders are, because all you need is a sac fly to score the tying run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you load the bases, there's only so much they can do. So Verdugo comes up to guard for the tying run, so he could throw it out at home, right? Possibly,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets beat going back. I mean, Clay set him up to fail. There was no way. And he should have made the play. Yeah, he should have gone backwards instead of forwards. Yes, You're right. However, we wouldn't have even been in that situation, you know? And I'm not trying to, I know Verdugo's struggling at the plate, but his defense is still great. So he's made one mistake. I can't crucify him over that. Volpe, same thing. His defense has been fantastic. Should he have made that play? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And 9 times out of 10, I would expect him to 10 out of 10. But he messed up, you know, but he's been great. Again, the pressure was on him because he knew he couldn't make a mistake. I mean, Clay put them in that position, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I listen, because any way we could look at this conversation, or any way we look at it perfectly, Sierra put it, both sides of the argument are correct, right? Whether you want to take blame and put it on Clay Holmes, you're correct for doing that. If you want to take blame and put it on Volpe and put it on Verdugo, you could do that as well. Because if I'm going to be critical, because this is the one thing about me, right? And maybe Grace and Damien, you guys can see where I'm coming from. If I am going to be critical on Gleyber Torres, right, I got to be able to be critical to everybody else who's not stepping up. You got to be able to just look things down the line and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm critical towards Gleyber Torres, but at the same time, I got to be critical towards Anthony Volpe. I got to be critical towards Alex Verdugo. The fact that over the past, since June 12th, the fact that Trent Grisham has been a better hitter than Alex Verdugo, that right there is alarming and concerning Alex Verdugo, he was our cleanup hitter for a big part of the season. And for the past 20 games, our fourth outfielder, Trent Grisham, has been a better offensive bat for our lineup. That is scary to say out loud. So all of that, you got to factor all of that in when you're having these type of conversations.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Dame.
Listen, there's a lot of blame to go around for that debacle, that collapse. This when we talk about baseball, we talk about, small ball, putting pressure on the defense, right? But when the pressure is coming from your own player, your own pitcher, your own closer, listen, obviously none of these guys are going to say out loud to anybody that once Clay Holmes comes into the game, they feel an enormous amount of pressure. Mm-hmm. Listen, it's written all over everybody's faces, okay? Because again, we talked about at the beginning. How many times can anybody think of a clean inning from Clay Holmes? You can't, other than the beginning. And let's be honest, Clay has 6 blown saves right now. Should really be about 9 or 10. All right, because he's gotten out of some really sticky situations, gotten really lucky, some good. As bad as the defense has been sometimes, it's also been good. So ultimately, at this point, if the Yankees are serious about making a push, you have to go closer by committee or go out and get a closer. You cannot continue with Clay Holmes. It's been proven the last 4 or 5 outings for him, it's been a debacle. It's been walks, it's been hits, it's been home runs, it's been everything under the sun. The guy has an ERA of over 8 within the last few games. So you can't continue to do it. You can't continue to do it. I'm not solely putting it on him for Sunday because it's not Anthony Volpe. You have to make that play. You're a Gold Glove shortstop. There's no reason to not make that play. Doogie, again, you play Gold Glove caliber no matter how bad you've been offensive lately. Gold Glove caliber defense in left field since you've been on the team. You cannot move in 3 steps on a ball like that. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And mind you, that's for a sweep of the Baltimore Orioles who have owned you. Okay? Mm-hmm. So everybody collectively choked on a chicken bone at the same time. And listen, when I tell you, Alyssa, baby girl, if you're watching, she looked at me like I was nuts because I literally was kicking boxes. I went from an ultimate high with Ben Rice hitting that 3-run bomb, right? Going around the room, neighbors probably hearing me, as always, to kicking boxes, okay? Literally kicking boxes. Yeah. So, and my daughter's like, Dad, they can't hear you on the TV. I said, listen, they can hear me. Believe me, everybody can hear me right now. So,
somebody asked in the chat, and I just want to bring this stat up real quick. They asked in the chat, I forgot who asked it in the chat, but the question was, do you guys know the stat for how many runners the Yankees have left on base in the first half of the season? I don't have the specific number for how many runners total were left on base, but I do have how many runners were left on base per game for the Yankees. You guys want to take this? How many for you, Grace? I'm going to ask you first. Per game average, what do you think it is with the Yankees leaving runners on base? How many runners are left on base for the Yankees on average per game? Shout out to CT Cars because they put it in the chat. Mike, shout out to you. What's your thoughts?
I want to say 4.
Okay, solid. Damien, what about you? Folks in the chat, let me know. What do you guys think? What is your the average for the Yankees runners left on base? Put it in the chat. What about you, Damien?
Between 6 and 7.
Old Sarge put the total population of Wyoming,
which is 4.
Hilarious.
I went Africa, but Wyoming will do too. I mean,
all right. So the New York Yankees are 16th in all of Major League Baseball, averaging 6.69 runners left on base in their last 3 games.
Good job, Damien.
In their last 3 games, the New York Yankees have been averaging over 8 runners left on base. And when you look at the context of this list, it's crazy to say, but the Dodgers are leading Major League Baseball and 7.37 runners left on base. Then you got the Brewers, then you got St. Louis, Philadelphia, Boston, the Mets, San Francisco, Tampa. And the best team, and I'm not sure if it's because this is where it gets the stat gets like misconstrued.
Yeah.
Because Cincinnati is the best team in all of Major League Baseball at just leaving 5.93 runners on base, but at the same time, they hardly get people to get on base. That's why they average so little. They don't got anyone getting on base. So that's how the stat could get like misconstrued. But at the same time, the New York Yankees are in the middle. They're 16th. So I know to us Yankee fans, it looks a lot worse than what it actually is, but we are dead in the middle when it comes to leaving runners on base.
But aren't we? I know we were at one point. I'm not sure if we are anymore leading the league in double plays.
Yes, we are. Right now,
we are leading in double plays.
Because that tracks.
Look it up.
What's crazy is with that being said, we also lead the league in runs, right? So we actually took that over from Baltimore. So now the Yankees are actually number one in runs scored. And I think that's a little misskewed from a few blow-up games where we scored 10, 14 runs against certain teams like Boston, like the Blue Jays.
The Brewers.
So the Brewers, we've had some games, a few laughers, right? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, the offense has been putrid.
As of right now, the New York Yankees are tied with the San Diego Padres for 88th, number one in double plays in all of Major League Baseball. So we're not solely in first place by ourselves. We're tied with the San Diego Padres, Juan Soto's former team. So that's a silver lining. But I want to bring up obviously we was talking about the Baltimore series, talk about this, that, and the third. I want to bring up another topic for us to talk about, and it revolves around one, the Yankees, two, Juan Soto, and three, the All-Star game and the home run derby that's going on. Because there was a little quote that Yankee fans are starting to lose their mind on Twitter with Juan Soto being asked, who is a player that you most want to play with? And Juan Soto said, Shohei Ohtani. Now, again, context is big because the question was about the All-Star game, a player that he would love to play with at the All-Star game. And he brought up Ohtani because Ohtani is now in the National League and he is in the American League. But for some reason, Yankee fans on Twitter and some Yankee content creators, they were just running with that one little part of the quote saying, I would like to play with Juan Soto. And now we got graphics and photoshops of him in a Dodgers jersey. I found this and I was like, should I put it on the thumbnail? I'm going to put it on the thumbnail because it's going to get engagement. But at the same time, this is so stupid. What are we doing? I think this is worse than like Met fans making photo shots of Juan Soto in Met jerseys. What are we doing right now? But Grace, let me know how you feel. Then toss it over to Damien. Folks in the chat, let me know what's your thoughts on Juan Soto going to the Dodgers.
I actually think this is really good for baseball, and it's good for the fans and baseball lovers to all kind of be excited about a player, a young player who's from the Dominican, who has such a bright future. And the fact that every fan base seems to want him, it's just going to make it that much sweeter when he signs with the Yankees. I can't wait to break the hearts all over the country because he's staying here. That's what I think. Until I'm proven wrong, that's my mind is made up. He's staying here. He belongs here. And but go ahead and clown on him all you want because when he signs with us, we're gonna beat you.
Yeah, point blank. What about? Go ahead, Damien.
Big nothing burger. There's two reasons, right? Number one, Soto is an East Coast guy. He wants to stay on the East Coast, whether it's New York Yankees or the Mets, whoever it is, he's gonna be on the East Coast. Secondly, the Dodgers, they don't need offense. They need pitchers. They need arms. So in the offseason, Max Fried to the Dodgers. Other free agent pitchers to the Dodgers. That's their need. They spent a whole lot of money on offense this past offseason. They're gonna bulk up on the pitching side this coming up offseason. So their money's not going to offense. Their money's going strictly to pitching this offseason, which is why they're in the situation they're in right now because they've lost half their staff.
Yeah, and you laid it up perfectly for me because Yamamoto, you guys didn't see, he's on a 60-day IL. right? Another one of their pitchers is shut down for the rest of the season. So like Damian said, half of their staff is MIA right now. So yes, in a hypothetical, would Dodger fans love to have Juan Soto in LA? Absolutely. But what the team needs is pitching, and they desperately need it right now. That's why this trade deadline is going to be very interesting, because not only are the New York Yankees looking to improve their team, but the Baltimore Orioles are going to be looking to improve their team. The LA Dodgers are going to be looking to improve their team. So with all our hypothetical trades, always put in the back of your mind that the Yankees are not the only team trying to improve their team. So there's going to be a lot of over trades when it comes to prospects going here or going there. Look at the Orioles. The Orioles, they need starting pitching, right? So when you look at Garrett Crochet from the White Sox, am I confident that the Yankees could get in a bidding war with the Orioles for Garrett Crochet? No, because the Orioles, they have top-rated prospects than the Yankees do. All we have is Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez. Outside of that, it's a crapshoot. But when it comes to the Orioles, they got more than that. They got prospects that are ranked higher than Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones. So just leave that in the back of your mind.
And not only that, but I do believe that the Orioles are actually willing to trade Holiday. So keep a lookout for that, because Holiday, granted, this kid's probably going to be a world beater. Didn't really show much when he came up for those couple weeks. Doing all right in AAA, but I honestly believe the Orioles will be willing to move Holiday with the right trade.
Yeah, I would say a sleeper team to look out for when it comes to Juan Soto in the offseason is Seattle. The same way Seattle was able to put their money together to get Robinson Cano away from the Yankees. Seattle, they have deep pockets also. Don't think the Mariners, they don't have deep pockets. They're in Washington. They're in Seattle. They got some pockets over there. They can make that change go if they need to over there. The same way they did it for Ichiro, the same way they did it for Robinson Cano, it's the same way they could do it for Juan Soto. But then again, it's Seattle. They always fumble the bag.
And Cano and Soto. Obviously Soto looks up to Cano. So yeah, absolutely. Cano absolutely regrets ever taking that contract. So so there you go with that one. So
yeah. And when it comes to
may I interest them in Carlos Rodon?
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening.
Hey, please. Anybody want Carlos Rodon? Anybody?
I don't think that's gonna happen with Carlos Rodon. I think we're stuck with Carlos Rodon, and credit to Rodon. The first 11 starts of the season, 13 starts of the season were amazing. He was 9-2. His ERA was under 3. We were having conversations about him being at the All-Star game. But then his last few starts, it's just been total opposite. It's Jekyll and Hyde with Carlos Rodon. And for me, it has to do more with his back. I don't think his back is 100%. I don't think his back is healthy. I think his back is hurting him right now, and he's trying to go out there to give this team whatever he can, just like last year. Last year when he got injured and he came back, he didn't fully rest. He forced his way back early because he was trying to help the team. Now, if that was the same scenario last year, why is it off to say that that's not the same situation that's going on right now with Carlos Rodon?
He's selfish. I said it. He's selfish. His pitch mix has been selfish, like we've documented on this show very well. He knows what happens when he throws too much of that fastball, especially early in the game, and he continues to go out and do it. And if he's playing injured to a detriment of this team, he's selfish. That's what I think.
Go ahead, Dame. I'm looking up Merck. Merck says Yamamoto's done for the year. He's getting Tommy John head. Yeah.
Oh, we missed that one, right?
Yeah. Merck so saucy. If you have a link to that, let me know so I could play it on screen. But yeah,
we dodged that $300 million debacle.
We dodged the bullet with Yamamoto. We dodged the bullet with Yamamoto.
Yama no go.
That's terrible.
I don't feel bad.
Sierra brings a great point up about Rodon. I want to get your thoughts on it before we move to the next topic.
Absolutely.
Sierra says his attitude is what bugs me. He can't be angry towards Austin Wells when he throws a bad pitch or when he throws bad pitches. What's your thoughts on that, Dame?
His attitude, man, it's Jekyll and Hyde. Like, there's something. Carlos Rodon is not all there, right? So, you know, Matt Blake's situation last season, right? Turned his back on the coach. You see him going at Boone constantly. After a while, the teammates, Boone, whoever, they gotta kind of get sick of it, right? You kind of gotta be done with it. It's like enough of the crying, and not literally, but enough of the crying, enough of the arguing, enough of the bickering. Just go out and do your job, right?
Yeah.
Because that's as New Yorkers, as New York Yankee fans, that's all we want you to do. Go out and do your job. Enough of all the extra nonsense, and just go out and perform. And if you're not going to perform, at the very least, shut your mouth. And that's the one thing Carlos Rodon can't help himself with. He can't shut his mouth, and his wife the same on Twitter. So it's listen, man. I like Carlos Rodon. I like the signing. I wanted him on the team, but he's really got to get an attitude adjustment, because for all the attitude he gives, the numbers don't back it. And until your numbers back it, then just shut up. Just go out there and perform. Go out there and hustle. Go out there and just do your thing. And if you're not, just keep your mouth shut, please.
Yep. He threw 98 pitches in 4 innings on Sunday. 98 pitches in 4 innings. He doesn't have a put-away pitch. He is lost. He gets down in the count, and then he tries to rush back, and then it's ball. Pitch. I mean, not ball, but you know what I mean, throwing the ball.
Yeah.
It's just it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. In the long run, you go out and throw 98 pitches for 4 innings, you're losing when you come out. You set the bullpen up for failure, and you've made yourself exhausted for your next start. So, like, what do you want? Yeah, like, that's 3 strikes. You're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what is he bringing to the team? What is he bringing? What value is he bringing?
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Austin Cruz that's in the chat. They do great work over there at BX Sports Jedi Network. Make sure you guys go give them a follow. Ronnie Green. Shout out to Ronnie Green with the $10 super chat, helping us keep the lights on over here at Morning Brew Sports. He will opt out, but the opt out when he opts out of his contract. No. But what happens is when he opts out of his contract, he doesn't become a free agent. What that means is when he opts out of his contract, the Yankees have to pick up the last year on his contract.
They just tack on that 10th year.
Yeah, they just tack on that 10th year. So yeah, he will opt out, but he's not opting out to become a free agent. He's opted out so the Yankees could pick up that final year on his contract.
Which at that point makes him the highest paid pitcher.
Hector, you rocked on that interview talking about my SNY one. Well, if you saw it, let me know. Shout out to my guy Dexter Henry, always having me on over there with SNY, the New York Post. Appreciate you, FL. No, I want to switch gears real quick and switch the conversation, because we're talking about the trade deadline and what this team needs and the state of the Yankees. We'll get to that, but Yankee fans talking about trading Spencer Jones. Let's have this conversation. Shout out to my guy Alvin Cintrone from WFAN. He had me call in last night. I was on with him at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we was having a conversation about Spencer Jones and how Yankee fans want to trade him. You guys, some Yankee fans on Twitter calling him the next Joey Gallo because he has a strikeout rate of 38%. I don't know what's going on, but when you look at his numbers, and I know, Grace, I said the same thing. When you look at his numbers in the minor leagues this season, he is hitting 237, right? And 295 at-bats. He only has 70 hits, 10 home runs, 46 RBIs, 18 stolen bases. Brian Bagarmi on Twitter, he brings up a great point. If the Yankees are looking for anything at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline, every team that wants to trade with the Yankees, they need to ask about Spencer Jones. This is how small market teams level the playing field. So I want to ask you, Grace, I want to ask you, Damian, are you on the same page as some Yankee fans on Twitter wanting to trade Spencer Jones? What's your thoughts?
Go ahead, Damian.
All right, well, as you guys know, I was totally against trading Spencer. Now I'm kind of open to it, but only for the right trade, right? So I did come out on the Spaces a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I should say, and I did mention one person that I would trade Spencer for. Now, do I think either side will do it? I doubt it. But I would trade Spencer Jones for Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte, Gleyber Jones, send on top of that a 15 to 20 prospect. Ketel Marte has a 5-year, $75 million contract. Fits the need, right? Fits the money. Gleyber actually makes more money than him by a couple $100,000. That I would do. Second baseman, switch hitter, OPS close to 900. I'd absolutely make that trade. Would either side do it? I don't know. Is Arizona are they willing to admit defeat? I don't know, but that's somebody I would do it for. Garrett Crochet, they're saying either Spencer Jones or Chase Hampton. Those are the two names that would have to be involved, one or the other, not both. That situation, I would go Hampton for Crochet. I wouldn't give up Spencer for him. Sole fact is that Crochet's a young guy, young pitcher. He's only been a starter this season, and let's face it, we don't know how that elbow is going to hold up. He throws heat. He never had more than 100 innings. And I think the kid can come in and actually be the closer of the team instead of the starter on the team if they made that trade. You move Clay where he deserves to be, 7th or 8th inning. You bring Crochet in. He's the new closer. You leave him there next season if you want. You go ahead and put him as a starter. And if you really want to, throw in Nestor Cortez with that.
Yeah, I want to shout out the chat. We got over 115 people watching us. 51 people are watching us on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button and interact with the emojis that are on the side of the chat. On our last episode, we was able to get to 85 likes and get over 1.2K views. Let's try to do that on this video and every video going forward. So if you guys can, please smack that like button. And Damien, you bring up a great point. I just want to touch on it real quick, and I'll toss it over to Grace because you bring Gleyber Crochet. Before this season, the most innings he's pitched in a season was about 57. Right now, he's at 111, if I'm not mistaken, from the last time I checked. The same conversation we were having about Luis Hill, if we trade for Garrett Crochet, we will be having the same conversations on Garrett Crochet because he will have an innings limit this season. If we trade our top prospect in Spencer Jones, Garrett Crochet is not going to impact us in the postseason because of that inning limit. And he's a starter. What would you say is more of a necessity or more of a need, a closer or a starting pitcher right now?
Closer.
I would say a closer is the biggest need on this team. At least we know our starting rotation. At least we got Clark Smith, who's coming back in September. At least we got some guys in the minor leagues who can make spot starts. We don't have anyone. We're not bringing up Neely for some reason. And Grace, I set it up perfectly because in our group chat you were saying and screaming for Neely. So that's why you see how I set it up perfectly. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got to see what Neely has. If they trade Neely without even giving him a shot, I will be disappointed. He has closer stuff, like MLB type level closer stuff, strikeout pitcher. He's in our system. I don't know why they haven't called him up, except they're just either I really don't know. I can't even postulate why they haven't called him up yet. It's truly beyond me. But moving on, I would trade Spencer Jones for the right person. The person would have to be, there would have to be some time left with control because Spencer Jones has so much control left. It didn't make any sense to trade him for a rental or a short-term kind of deal. I don't want to do that. So it would have to be a player that had a lot of control, and it would have to be a player that was a big difference maker, like put the Yankees over the top type of guy. I don't know who that would be because although I think Crochet could be that, I too am concerned about the innings that you guys brought up, that he's never pitched this many innings before. So, you know, it almost seems like a bad risk to get him, acquire him, and think that he's going to keep on going. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm kind of concerned about that. It would have to be like a big playoff experienced, proven type of bat or proven playoff winning pitcher. And I just don't know who that would be right now. If Cashman makes a move with Spencer Jones to make the team better, I'll get over it. I'll move on. Spencer Jones, I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad about him as a person, but there's something about him that, call it my intuition or whatever you want to call. Something about him is not clicking for me yet. So I'm not that attached to him. If it's the right deal, I'm moving Spencer Jones. That's me though.
And we was having these conversations. Spencer Jones is somebody that I think is an untouchable prospect, just like Jason Dominguez. But if it sets us up for us to win the championship and it's a piece that can help improve this team, you're going to have to entertain it. I've been on record saying for the longest that I would trade Spencer Jones for Jose Ramirez. Would the Guardians do that? Absolutely not. But I'm on record saying that I would trade Spencer Jones in a heartbeat for Jose Ramirez. So there are players out there that I would trade Spencer Jones for. I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Tanner Scott. I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm not trading him for Tanner Scott and for Neely. No matter how much I think we need our bullpen to be improved, that's an overpay right there. And again, like I said, the New York Yankees, we always got to remember, aren't the only team that's trying to improve their roster at the trade deadline. There are other teams that are trying to improve their roster. And with this new wild card rule and that third wild card rule, you guys got to understand this. It was all put in play, right? One, for money, so teams could get to the postseason and get that little ad revenue money. But at the same time, they put it in there so big cities like New York, we could be in the hunt in September when there's no other professional sports going on. That's the key month for Major League Baseball. That's where Major League Baseball makes their most money, in the middle of July and for the entire month of August before the football season comes and at the end of the basketball season. That's when it's prime time for Major League Baseball. And that's why they are thinking about moving the trade deadline back a couple of weeks. And that's why there's an extra third wildcard team. Always remember, and always put this in the back of your mind. Whatever rules are implemented in Major League Baseball, they're not there to improve the game for the fan. They're not there to improve the game for the players. They're there to improve the game for the pockets of the owners. Always remember that. And always remember that and keep that in the back of your mind. And when you look at, go ahead, Grace.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I
Go
thought
ahead,
you were finished. I'm so sorry.
No, I literally was. I was just going to say shout out to LI Yankee King for the $4.99 super chat.
Oh, okay.
I get to in a second. Go ahead, Grace.
I was just going to say, you know who needs a center fielder badly? The Texas Rangers. They need a center fielder. And we have a good trade relationship with the Texas Rangers. Cashman and whatever his name is, I forgot. They have a good relationship. Could we possibly work out a trade with the Rangers? They have some people that I might be interested in, okay? I mean, I mentioned David Robertson. I know he's a little bit older, but he has the experience.
I'll take him.
Max Scherzer, he's on the end of his contract too. He's old as the hills, but he still can throw cheese, and he has playoff experience, you know? I mean, I want Josh Young so bad, it's not even funny. I know I told you all this in Spaces the other day. He is ideal. He's an ideal Yankee to me.
I'm sorry. You know what's funny? When I was on last night on WFAN, the producer, shout out to Rami. I'm going to try to set up Rami so he can come on with us on the Yankees Morning Brew, big time Yankee fan. But after I was done, I brought up Spencer Jones, and Rami, he brought up Josh Young, and he was like, he brought up Josh Young as a prospect that the Yankees traded for Joey Gallo, and Rami was like, listen, if it's up to me right now, I'm trading Spencer Jones for Josh Young. That's how badly we need to improve this team. So when he said it, I immediately thought of you, Grace.
Really? I can't believe it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna reach out to Rami to get him on. Shout out to my guy Rami. He produces a lot of the shows for Keith McPherson, Alvin Centrone, for a lot of the late night shows for C-Max. So shout out to Rami. He does great work.
Now, mind you, we have a great relationship trading with the Rangers because they fleece us every time. So, you know,
we got A-Rod.
Joey Gallo. We gave him back Elvis Duran, John Smith. Shout out to that kid. Since Josh Young went down, the kid's taken over.
Yeah.
And it's flourished. All right. He should have really been an all-star. He's put up all-star type numbers. So, yeah, the Rangers would love to trade with us because they fleece us every time. They got rid of Joey Gallo. And mind you, guys, whoever, you know, chat, fans, Spencer Jones would never be Joey Gallo. So let's never say that again. It's
Yeah,
only one Joey Gallo.
Okay. Don't forget about Rougned Odor.
Oh, Rougned Odor, another Yankee great that the Rangers traded to us, who's actually in AAA for us, I believe. So
yeah, he is.
Oh, now I feel bad.
Good old Rugi.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Rangers would love to trade with us. They constantly fleece us, and they're like, "Hey, let's see what else we can get out of the Yankees," because they keep giving us the hits and they keep taking our scraps, our garbage.
Maybe they just have better offensive development than we have. Maybe they turn these guys into something that they wouldn't have become if they'd stayed in the Yankee system. We don't know.
Sure
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, what if they made a package where we got Ezekiel Duran as a bench depth piece and Josh Young, who is amazing, right? But he is injured. So it's a little bit of a risk on our part. This is how I'd be like, hey, listen. Y'all have Josh Smith, right? He's been the most consistent hitter all year for y'all, right? Josh Young is possibly coming back from the IL real soon, but who knows what condition he's in? We'll take the risk. We'll send you Spencer Jones. He'll be ready to play center field for y'all. He's got a huge bat, plays well at Globe Life Park, and we'll take the risk on Josh Young. He wants to be a Yankee anyway. Everybody knows it. And throw in Max Scherzer. He's got a couple months left on his contract. We'll pay that off for you. No problem. This is what I'm doing, right? I would die. I would pass away from happiness.
I think every other Yankee fan will also die from that as well. But when you look at it, I don't think the Angels are going to be willing to do it because they're trying to have small level contracts alongside their big heavy contracts. And that's the same situation the Yankees are going in right now. I'm looking up the stat lines from the future game. The game hasn't happened yet? No, I don't think it happened yet. No, wait. Yeah, it said that it happened. No. The game did happen. I'm looking for Spencer Jones' stat line from the game. I cannot find it as of right now. If anybody in the chat has it, let me know. I'm looking for it. He wasn't even in the starting lineup, Spencer Jones.
Bitch, bye.
Did he? I don't even think he played. He didn't even play in the future game.
Y'all, I'm done.
He didn't get an at bat. Oh, Jesus.
He didn't even get an at bat in the futures game.
Ouch. That sucks.
Yeah, no, he didn't play. He wasn't a pitch hit. He wasn't nothing. Yeah, his ego's hurt.
That hurts.
That hurts. I think that hurts L.I. Yankee King more than it does Spencer Jones because L.I. Yankee King, he put it in the chat. Shout out to my brother L.I. Yankee King with the $4.99 super chat helping us keep the lights on. But he says, in my opinion, the Yankees haven't earned the right to get a Spencer Jones trade with their 18-21 stretch because I'm starting to feel like this team is not it. And he brings up a valid point because ever since June 12th, and that was the last game that we won against the Royals, that's when we won that series. Ever since June 12th, the New York Yankees, we have the worst record in all of Major League Baseball. The worst. So there's some validity into what L.I. Yankee King is saying. Now, am I going to say that every trade for Spencer Jones is off the table? Absolutely not. Because if the Guardians decide next week that they want to trade Stephen Kwan, I'm sending Spencer Jones in that package. Bye-bye, Spencer Jones. You could be traded for Stephen Kwan. Is it going to happen? Absolutely not. That's not a reality. But if there's a trade that presents itself that can improve this team, someone put it in the chat. If we could get Garrett Crochet and Luis Roberts from the Chicago White Sox, and we have Roberts as our left fielder and move on from Verdugo, that's a scenario that you can entertain, right?
Absolutely.
But it's not just going to be solely for just Garrett Crochet. It will have to be for multiple pieces. That's just my opinion, how I look at it.
So let me ask you this. How many games? What did L.I. say? Something 21 games?
18 and 21. 18 and 21. 18 and 21 in the last stretch.
Okay. And how many games has Giancarlo been out for?
Oh God.
It's gone downhill since.
It's gone downhill since.
Y'all don't forget, Giancarlo's coming back. Okay. I heard they recently announced that he is going to make a rehab stint.
Thank God.
Maybe a
Good.
game. I know, Damien, you were calling for that. Either a game or two. Not sure. Probably won't be that many. But he'll be back up soon, and he'll ramp up, and he'll be getting hot right going into exactly when we need him to get hot. He is clutch in the postseason. You cannot deny it. Don't forget we have Stanton coming back, y'all. It's going to be such a lift for the team. Big time. Efros maybe, Schmidt, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can still call up Neely at some point, please. You know, Jason Dominguez, I'm not sure about that. He may be way down the line now. They're really posturing like his rehab's not progressing quickly at all. So,
I think they want to keep the expectations down for Yankee fans, and rightfully so. Keep those expectations down. If we do see Jason Dominguez, it'll probably be the last week of August. If he's not up before September, I don't think he'd be able to be on the postseason roster. I gotta double check with Dane on that.
I'm just saying, don't think that this team is who we've seen over the last 40 games. They're not. Like they tried to get through this stretch. People are going to be coming back. The team is going to have reinforcements. They're going to make trades at the deadline. Even if they don't trade away Spencer Jones, it's going to make the team even better. We are only one game out of the lead of the toughest division in baseball, even with that 40-game stretch. So don't count these guys out. Like, don't count them out. You know, if we'd have gone into the Baltimore series and someone would have said, hey, you guys haven't won a series in 30 days or however long it was, close to a month. I'll tell you right now, you're going to win the last series before the All-Star break. It's going to be against the Baltimore Orioles. Every single one of us would have taken it, and we would have been happy.
Yep.
We were losing that game the whole time until Ben Rice hit that go-ahead home run. Yep. If he hadn't hit that go-ahead home run, we would all be saying, you know what? We had a great series. We won the series. You know, we're only one game down in the division. We have an easy month of August coming up. If we can get to August, is it August or July? No, it's August. Easy month of August coming up. Our schedule going right into the postseason is cupcake, okay? Yeah. So if we can get there, we can make up ground. The Orioles schedule gets harder. Our schedule gets easier, okay? So we are in a good spot. Y'all don't give up on the team yet, okay? Please.
Old Sarge, thank you for this. So Old Sarge says, Jones did start in the future game. He was 0 for 1 with a walk and a stolen base, no strikeouts. He batted fifth. Okay, because I was just looking at Baseball America and they didn't have him in the lineup. So thank you, Sarge, for that and helping us correct that little bit of misinformation. One thing I wanted to bring up, and this is a conversation. Shout out to my guy Ghost, who I do the Yankees spaces with. Yankees pregame, postgame spaces. No Yankee games on this week, so we may have a pop-up space just to have conversations and stuff. But him and we was talking about it, and you know how people love to talk about Gleyber Torres benefiting from the juice ball from 2019 and 2020. You know that? Do you know another Yankee that benefited from the juice ball and nobody has mentioned it? No, I'm talking about for these past few years having these conversations. Nobody mentioned this player benefiting from the juice baseball, but everybody want to point at Gleyber Torres and pick apart Gleyber Torres. Do you guys happen to know the player that I'm talking about? Just take a guess off the top of your head. What player am I talking about? And
there's a few.
They're on the Yankees. They're on the Yankees. That player is on the Yankees.
Right now,
you happen to know right now that player is on the Yankees. DJ LeMahieu.
Oh yeah.
You know why? Because in 2019 he had a batting average of 327. In 2020 he had a batting average of 364. Outside of the juice baseballs, outside of those 2 seasons, DJ LeMahieu is a 270 hitter for his career. If you look at his splits in Colorado, his batting average was always 20 to 30 points higher in Coors Field than it was on the road. In 2020, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, Gleyber Torres, his numbers bottomed in 2020. Yeah, because Gleyber Torres was dealing with groin issues for the entire season. Gleyber Torres, out of I think it was 50 games that were played or 60 games, Gleyber Torres only played in 41 games. Do you know how many games Gleyber Torres was taken out of because of his groin? He was taken out of 7 games. So he basically played half of the season dealing with groin injuries in 2020. You know who benefited from juice baseballs in 2020? He had double-digit home runs.
Brett Gardner?
Gregorius. Gregorius in 2020. Do you know what his average exit velocity was in 2020? 83 miles per hour, which is 10 miles per hour less than what it is right now. So when we have these conversations about players who benefited, who didn't benefit from the juice baseball, DJ LeMahieu is a corporate of that. DJ LeMahieu, granted, bless him, he put up phenomenal numbers in 2019 and 2020. He got his bag, but ever since DJ LeMahieu got his bag, he has never been the same player. And DJ LeMahieu was a fraud because of his numbers he put up in Colorado and because of the juice baseballs. I'm sorry. I don't want to speak negative on DJ LeMahieu. It's the reality. And I'm sorry, Erica. I'm sorry. DD. I love DD Gregorius also, but he benefited from the juice baseballs in 2019 and 2020 also. Sorry about that.
Now let's call it real. Like, we were in the spaces, right? Jordan Vivas got called up. Somebody said the Yankees are definitely going to play Jordan, right? They wouldn't call him up not to play him. And I said, what, Hector?
Doesn't make any sense.
Does anybody remember a guy by the name of Oswald Peraza? Okay,
yeah.
So they did exactly what they did to Peraza. They called this young kid up, took away at bats from him, and played DJ LeMahieu the entire time, 0 for 5 at leadoff, 0 for the world the entire series, and asinine. That's the only word I could think of is asinine. You have a young kid in Yorba Vivas could possibly be the replacement for the guy that you're not going to re-sign in Gleyber Torres, and you don't take the time to figure out what you have in him. Brian Kevin, Aaron Boone, what are you doing? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It is extremely frustrating. Listen, who cares about DJ's feelings? Listen, if you don't think DJ knows how bad he's playing, he knows. If you don't think DJ knows he's on the downward slope, he knows. If the team doesn't see it, they know. Put that young kid out there, let him play third, let him play second, the entire series, and see what you have in this kid. He was on fire. Now you slowed his development down. You took away 12 at bats from him, 16 at bats from him, and for what? Just sit him on a bind? Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I don't understand why they treat the young players like this. And in my opinion, Austin Wells should be hitting higher in the order. He has been consistent and getting better and better and better. And he has a bat that can be a difference maker. But yet he's still down, and I don't understand why they don't trust him yet. I also don't understand why Volpe is the only guy that they just gave carte blanche to, and they never took him out all year last year, and they still haven't taken him out this year. I'm not saying he should be benched. I'm just saying I don't understand why he had all the confidence in the world, and all the other people who are young don't have any confidence. They went and got John Birdie, who was good, don't get me wrong, but they did that over Cabrera. They got the J.D. Davis thing over Ben Rice, who, thank God, Ben Rice has forced their hand. And said, no, you're not platooning me. Yeah, he forced the guys to make him the starting first baseman. Yep. But a lot of people have to have those consistent at bats. Not everybody can have the blind success of Ben Rice just barreling in there and making a case for himself. And it's not their fault, it's crazy. Wells is the future, right? Am I way off here? Like, now they have to give him more time because, unfortunately, Trevino's hurt. And I don't wish injury on anyone, no matter who they are, because I love baseball. But at the end of the day, these are people. You know what I mean? So
when talking about Austin Wells, right?
Yeah.
Austin Wells had a game where he had 2 home runs. What I mean, 3 home, right? It was a 3 home run. No, it was 2 home runs.
Yeah, and they benched him.
And they benched him.
Yeah,
and they benched him. They pinch hit Jose Trevino for Austin Wells when he had 2 home runs in a game.
No,
coming up with runners in scoring position. Like what are you doing? When you look at Austin Wells over his last 10 games, Austin Wells is batting .333. He has 12 hits. He has 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, and 6 runs scored. Austin Wells should be your everyday catcher. Should be your everyday catcher. Point blank, period. Why are you sitting him for Jose Trevino after he has an amazing game like he had?
Would you guys, let me ask you guys, would you consider moving Austin Wells to cleanup?
No, I don't want to. You're gonna mess with him. I think the Yankees just keep
the pressure.
Keep him. Yeah, you mess with the pressure. Fit? If anything, move him up to 6 so you can have a righty, because they have Ben Rice as a cleanup hitter. So move him up to 6. Have that righty in the middle of Ben Rice and Austin Wells, so a manager can't just bring out their tough lefty late in the game, and you'll have to go to a pinch hitting situation with Austin Wells.
But who do you have as leadoff?
Hold on, let me go on the street and find anybody walking by with a pulse. I'll have anybody on the street rather than what the Yankees have right now at the leadoff.
That's what I'm saying,
the Yankees leadoff spot, and this is something that I talked about on WFAN last night with Al. But we haven't addressed the leadoff situation ever since Brett Gardner retired. Ever since Gardy retired, we never addressed the leadoff situation. DJ LeMahieu in 2019, 2020, bless him. God bless him. He had phenomenal seasons, high batting average. Let's be realistic. He doesn't have the legs to be a leadoff hitter, and that's what we need. You need to have speed at the top of your lineup. He was getting singles, getting doubles, but he was hardly able to score unless it was an extra base hit because of his wheels. We need a guy who has speed in the leadoff spot. We need a guy who could get on base, and I've been preaching this for the past 2 weeks or week and a half. Jonathan India. I like Jonathan India from the Cincinnati Reds. He's a leadoff hitter. He has the speed. He plays a better defense than Gleyber Torres at second base. But if you make that move for Jonathan India, you still have a glaring hole at third base. You still have an issue at third base. So realistically, if I'm the Yankees, I could live with trading for a third baseman and getting by with Gleyber Torres. I could live with that. I can't live with trading for a second baseman, getting rid of Gleyber Torres, and having to live with DJ LeMahieu. I can't live with DJ LeMahieu as our third baseman going into the postseason. If the Yankees have DJ LeMahieu as their starting third baseman for the ALDS or for the wild card or whatever first round matchup we match up with, if DJ LeMahieu is the starting third baseman, the Yankees are going home. The Yankees are going home. I'm sorry. DJ LeMahieu is hitting what, a 188 right now? That's what, I-88? That's what I take when I want to go down to see Damian in Florida.
When they benched, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when they benched Rice in the 9th to tighten up the defense at first and put DJ in, that I'm not saying, oh, that was a great move, but kind of. I mean, I'm not saying it was a great move, but I understand why they did it, right? That's the role that DJ should be playing on this team. Late inning defensive replacement. Agreed. And honestly, they put him in with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning. Okay, they did not think it was going to go to extras. And if it did go to extras, we would lose anyway because we're the worst team in baseball in extra innings. Nobody loses more games that go to extra innings than the New York Yankees. Okay? So with that being said, if we had another round of at-bats, we would have been sunk anyway. That's just what the numbers say. But that's the type of role that DJ should be playing on this team. He still has value to contribute, but that value is no longer as a starter.
Yeah.
You know, as much ish as Yankee fans give Jahmai Jones, I'd rather see Jahmai Jones than DJ LeMahieu at this point.
But at the same time, Damien, that's not much of an improvement. That's not like that. That's not saying much.
That's sad.
That's how bad DJ LeMahieu has been playing. That Damien can fix his lips on July 16th to say, you know what? I'd rather Jahmai Jones be my third baseman than DJ LeMahieu.
I would. I mean, he's got a higher OPS. He's got more hits. Got a higher average. Has more energy. Runs faster. Is there anything Jahmai Jones doesn't do better than DJ LeMahieu right here, right now?
I don't know.
Nothing. There's nothing.
Jahmai Jones. I wanted to bring something up because
before you do
Go
that
ahead.
real quick, I'm so sorry. I want to shout out Joey C in the chat. Joe C says, look like you guys are talking about poor roster construction.
Same thing for the
Absolutely,
last 10
Joe.
years.
You know, when we get out of bed, it's like changing your undies, right? You put in one leg at a time, and we talk about poor roster construction when it comes to the New York Yankees. It's God-given, Joe.
It
Go
is.
ahead.
I don't understand, Joe. This is the best roster $300 million can afford.
Yeah. What did he
We're
say?
all
What
really
did he say?
happy.
I think we're effing good, right? That's what he said,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're effing
Yeah.
good, bro.
Pretty
What are you
effing good.
talking about?
Yeah.
Pretty effing good.
I wanted to bring up something though, because last couple times we were on here last week, we were giving Aaron Boone the business, rightfully so. We were, we're upset. But I wanted to bring up something, and I wanted to see if anybody else noticed this on the broadcast. Jemai Jones went up for an at-bat. I think it was Saturday. I can't remember now. And he clearly was trying to bunt. Does anybody remember this?
Oh, that was
Remember
Saturday.
that?
That was Saturday.
I
That was
remember that.
Saturday.
Okay,
yeah.
it was Saturday. I think so. So he was trying to bunt. He had a perfect pitch to bunt. Muffed it, right? Didn't do it. Then he was forced to have to swing, and he got out. He walks over to the bench, and this is what I want to know if anybody noticed this, because we ream Boone, so we have to give him credit also when, just like you were saying, Hector, if we're going to be on Gleyber Torres, we got to be on Anthony Volpe. So listen, we give Boone a hard time, but I noticed this, and I wanted to bring it to my family's attention here in the chat, and Damian and Hector. Aaron Boone calls him over, and they showed him on the camera, and Jemai was looking at Aaron Boone, and he was like explaining himself, like, oh, blah, 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 I couldn't, blah, 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 I couldn't, because blah, blah, blah. And Aaron Boone, swear to God, was like this. He goes, all right. Pissed. And I was like, oh, shit. It's happening. Oh, sorry, I said the S word.
No, you're good. You're good.
Accountability. Yeah, Boone glared at him. Boone glared at him while he was explaining. And then he gave like a long pause before he goes, all right, whatever. And then Jemai like kind of put his head down and went over to take his bat.
My only issue with that is that Boone only does that to specific players, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't do that to his team. He doesn't hold the veterans accountable like he would a guy like Jemai Jones, who doesn't have anything guaranteed to him. He called out Oswald Peraza last season during spring. Never calls out anybody. You call out a young kid. So my problem with that is if you're going to do it to Jemai Jones, you need to do it to Verdugo, who's been dogging it down the line on ground balls this entire Baltimore series. I about flip my wig, because every time Doogie hit a ground ball, what'd he do? Slowly walking basically to first base. Gleyber Torres, same thing. Listen, if you're going to hold the team accountable, then you can't just do it to Jemai Jones, who is not a star player on this team. Listen, people are going to see that and be like, okay, it's Jemai Jones. There's no effect to that. Now, if you do that to Doogie, you do that to Gleyber, you do that to an Aaron Judge, well, obviously Aaron Judge is never going to deserve it, but that's when there is effectiveness to that.
That speaks
You do it to Jemai Jones, everybody's like, oh well. But you do it to Doogie, you do it to somebody with a name who's making a far greater salary than Jemai Jones was probably making league minimum, then at that point, there's no effectiveness to that. The team, the team is looking at Boone like, oh, you're a big guy. Good job, Boone. You picked on the little guy, right? That's how I look at it. Boone's talking about, well, quietly, I felt like we were being bullied. Well, Boone, you can say the same thing, because at the end of the day, you're not doing that. You're not holding the star players accountable. You're holding the guys who make league minimum, who don't have no business even being on the team accountable. Let's be real. That's terrible.
Like I said, the first time we had this conversation, like a few shows behind, yes, Boone needs to hold everybody accountable, right? But like Nosebleed section put in the chat, where's it at? It's also the captain's job, right? I'm gonna need Aaron Judge to start holding his other teammates and his contemporaries hold them accountable also, right? I said it on the last show. We can't expect Aaron Boone, who is supposed to be the leader amongst men, if you want to put that quote in the air, however you want to say it. But if Aaron Boone is supposed to be the leader, we can't expect him to hold Gleyber Torres' hand while he's in the batter's box, right? You can't expect Aaron Boone to hold Alex Verdugo's hand as he's running up the first baseline. I'm gonna need these athletes who are $1 million athletes to start acting like they're $1 million athletes and perform at the level of that we expect them to. And it's not nothing crazy. What do we want? We just want to see hustle. We just want to see them running out of the batter's box 4 to 5 times out of the game. I keep on saying this. That's the only thing I ask of you. Just run hard 4 or 5 times in a 2 to 3 hour time span. That's all I'm asking for you. And you get paid millions of dollars to do it. You're part of the New York Yankees. You're part of the #1 baseball organization in the world. You get to fly around on charter jets. You get to eat the best food that is out there. I had a chance to be in a luxury suite at Yankee Stadium because of my beautiful girlfriend's mom. And I'll tell you this, those chicken tendies were really good. That pizza was really nice. And I guess what? But I tell you this, I guarantee you that the Yankees food was way better than what I had in the suites. Those chicken tendies I had were fresh. That was the freshest chicken tendies ever. Is what they want to say. The ketchup was amazing. The mustard, fantastic. But if I was getting that in the luxury suites, I could just imagine what they get down there in the Yankees dugout. And I know I'm laughing, I'm joking, I'm trying to be lighthearted about it. But at the end of the day, Derek Jeter, yes, he followed Joe Torre. But Derek Jeter set the example on the field, right? Derek Jeter, he ran down that first baseline every time hard. He played with effort. He played with grit. He set the example, right? And that's the one thing Alex Rodriguez, when you look at him and Jeter now, their relationship, that's the worst thing Jeter, A-Rod credits Jeter on. A-Rod said Jeter would never tell me how to do my job. Jeter would do my job, expecting me to do my job by setting an example.
Facts.
Bars.
Not only that, but you had guys like Posada, right? Posada was kind of the enforcer. He'd literally grab a guy by his neck and be like, yo, get in line. You had the Paul O'Neills. And that's one thing this team lacks, right? Is are guys like that. You don't have a Posada, you don't have an O'Neill, you don't have a Graham Lloyds that are running from the bullpen to knock Armando Benitez's head off. You don't have the Tino Martinez's in the world. You don't have that on this team. So when it comes to judge, listen, at this point, you don't have these guys to judge you. You got to do it on your own at this point. And if Boone's not going to do it, then you got to do it. Now, granted, we don't know what happens in the player-only meeting. We weren't in there, right? Now, mind you, they did come out and win 2 out of 3 after that. Was something said by the cap? Who knows? We don't know. He looks like a type of dude that's never going to do it out in public, right? Talking about Judge. But at some point, he did it with Marcus Stroman, right? Everybody knew that he was putting Stroman in place after what he did with Glaber. Was it? I thought I loved it when Marcus Stroman did that because it kind of sparked the team, right? And we needed that. Somebody needed that, right? So if they choose Stroman to be that guy, by all means, Stro, go ahead, be that guy. But the culture of the team doesn't fit that bill, right? The culture of the team, I hate to say it, is soft, okay? It's sensitive. They're too worried about hurting DJ LeMahieu's feelings. That's why he's constantly on the field.
Don't be a meanie. Don't be a meanie, all right? Don't be mean. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So the team has forgotten that, listen, this is about winning first. So Cashman, Boone, can y'all focus on winning first and stop worrying about LeMahieu's feelings? Stop worrying about everybody's feelings who are having poor play, Rizzo's feelings, whoever it is. Because at the end of the day, this is about wins, losses. It's not about feelings. The only time it's about feelings is when you're on that dog pile willing to chip. Other than that, it's got nothing to do with feelings.
I just want to say something real quick, and I'll toss it over to Grace. Right, switching up the conversation just a little bit, because I didn't have on my bingo card for 2024. I didn't have Josh Donaldson winning me over.
Oh.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So I bring this up because on Twitter, I'm trying to share the screen, but I don't want the stream to freeze because my computer's acting up. But on Twitter, there was an Oriole fan, right? Freddie the O's fan. Shout out to Freddie. They got a blue check mark. You know, now anybody can get a blue check mark nowadays. Yeah. But Freddie said, for the record, I know the hit by pitch by Holmes was not on purpose. The fight started when the Yankees dugout started chirping at Hyde. There is zero context in which that is sportsmanlike behavior after a player gets drilled in the head. That's why everyone hates your team. So Josh Donaldson responded. The great Yankee Josh Donaldson responded and said, no, you hate the Yankees because year after year, they have beat you down. They've beat your hopes and dreams down of winning. First, by beating you on the field. Second, even if they have a down year, they can go and reload. Enjoy this little stretch. Your players will be on the Yankees, Dodgers, or Red Sox. You know what, Josh Donaldson? Retire his jersey.
JD.
Get him a statue in Monument Park. Start the Josh Donaldson Yankeeography.
Yes.
Start all of that. No, but honestly, I wasn't expecting that. Shout out to Josh Donaldson, who's never one to run away from being a petty Betty on the internet, and he was definitely a petty Betty that day.
Yes, he
I
was.
mean, that is a perfect example of how you can't worry about hurting people's feelings. Josh Donaldson got booed mercilessly and DFA'd, a former MVP. It happens to everybody, but he got DFA'd and everybody was cheering. I'm talking about fans were cheering and applauding everything when he got DFA'd, and yet he's still out here defending the Yankees. You think he's crying in his home thinking, oh, I got DFA'd by the Yankees. I hate the Yankees. No, he's not. So why are y'all worried about these feelings? These men are grown men, professional athletes. They know it's a business, and they know when they're playing bad. They know.
Yeah, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Josh Donaldson, he knows what he's doing. He knows the Yankees, they need a third baseman. He's not trying to burn all the bridges he has left in the world. He knows what he's doing. Like L.I. Yankee King just put it in the chat. I'm not sure if people can see it, but L.I. Yankee King said, bro, Josh Donaldson, shut the F up. The only reason his dumbass was a Yankee is because the Twins couldn't wait to get the F out of his contract. Shout out to L.I. Yankee King for dropping the most F-bombs in the chat for today. That's one thing I want to say. Shout out to my guy Richie Rivera from Empire State of Baseball. ESB is in the building. My brother, appreciate you. Shout out to D's channel in the building. Truth Always is in the building as well. Mikey P is in the building. I want to get to some of these chats real quick. He said Verdugo had a good post-game interview after he missed that soft liner. And I said this on, again, talking with Alex Verdugo, he had his Joey Gallo, Aaron Hicks, and Josh Donaldson moment. Now we have to see how he's going to respond after that. Great conversation with the media, holding himself accountable. That was awesome. Because you guys remember Hicks and Gallo, they would skate around it and they wouldn't hold themselves accountable. So that's a good signing from Alex Verdugo. But with all the great energy from the start of the season, from spring training to Alex Verdugo wearing a do-rag to be in solidarity with Marcus Stroman, the dogs barking, beware of the dogs in left field. All of that said and done, I'm going to need Alex Verdugo to start producing. Because everything I just mentioned, there is fantastic, is awesome for like the clip art. It's good for fan storytelling and stuff like that. But I'm going to need Alex Verdugo to be the hitter that we got from Boston. He is having the worst season of his career at the moment. At the moment, he is having the worst season of his career. Right, the first 2 months of the season was phenomenal. Then the Yankees started moving him up and down that lineup. We saw him in the leadoff spot for this past week. That didn't work out. Without Giancarlo Stanton, he has no protection around him. This is not a guy. Alex Verdugo's never been a guy that went into the batter's box and said, you know what, I'm going to be Juan Soto and lead the lead in walks. He's never been that type of player. So when he doesn't have any protection, he's swinging at whatever he could swing at, and he's just making soft contact, rolling over it, pulling off for the ball. He's just not putting the ball in play, and it's hurting us more than it's helping us.
1,000%. Doogie's got to get back to the basics, right? Not only that, but boom, put your players in the best position possible to win. All right. You're floating him up, down. I mean, we're literally seeing Doogie in 3 different batting positions in the last 2 weeks. He's at 7th, he's at cleanup, and he's at 1st. Boom. Get consistent with the lineup, please. Because you're not going to get consistency from a player if you're not being consistent with him. So defense, got no issues with defense with Doogie. He's played a great left field the entire season. I honestly forgot what it felt like to actually have a left fielder until this past season. But offensively, he's been putrid. He's been terrible. He's been he's been neutered. He's been Yankeefied, right? You know, I don't know what to say about Doogie. I mean, honestly, you love his defense, you love the fight, you love his attitude, right? But then there's a flip side to that. There's the attitude where you can't stand it because, again, he's rolling over balls. You have no idea if that second baseman is going to commit an error. The shortstop's committed an error, but yet you're dogging it down the line. You're jogging, and you have no idea what's going to happen. Anything can happen. You run hard out the box, you're putting pressure on the defense to make a perfect play. Doogie, you're not doing that. And then on top of that, you're going to see the rest of the plays follow suit. So in Boone, where you at with Doogie there? You got on Jemai. Where you at with Doogie on that? That's my point when it comes to Boone. You get on Jemai, you got to get on Doogie, especially Doogie, who's who's one of the leaders of the team. Let's face it. Mm-hmm. So Doogie, get your head out of your ass and start playing Doogie baseball. Start getting back on the game. People have no idea what a monumental loss it was for Big G not being in that line.
Oh God, bro!
So many people have gone out of their ways for when Big G's having a bad game to call it out. They don't go out their way to give him his props when he's having a great game. But the one thing that nobody can deny, this team has completely faltered since Big G's been out the lineup.
Period.
The moment G left is when Doogie started to slump. And that reason is because G was protecting Doogie and giving him good pitches to hit. Now, there's no protection behind Doogie, and now you see the result of it. So for all you haters behind Big G, give that dude his respect. Obviously, he's injured. Same thing every year. We know this. But give him his respect because he's a lot better player than we give him credit for.
No, you are 100% right. I want to shout out Eunice real quick. Eunice, how you doing? Good morning. Salute to you. And Rich Rivera is saying Eunice is having a family barbecue. Where's my invite? Eunice, I'm gonna need be in New York City at the end of the month. I'm gonna need an invite for Damien. I'm bringing me 2 extra plates so I can have a plate there and have a plate so I can take home. Eunice, okay? Where's my invite for the family barbecue? But Spooky Mayors, he said this: you can't have a brawl every game to fire up your team. We saw that a lot last year. Boone would have to get thrown out or something extreme would happen in order to bring out the emotion of the squad. Grace, what's your thoughts on that and just of the conversation? Go ahead, Grace.
I mean, I think when you're winning, right?
AR.
Winning leads to winning, right? We always used to say this in theater and acting. When you were cast in a show, you would get cast in the next show, and then the next show, and the next show, because there's something in it about, when you already have it. You don't have the pressure, then you get cast and you get cast and you get cast. It's the same with winning. You win and then you win again. Last year, we were not winning. We were trying to get to where we could get rolling with the wins, right? So I think that winning leads to winning. Winning leads to fun. Fun leads to winning, right? It's like the chicken or the egg kind of thing. So I don't think you have to have a brawl every time. I agree, but you need to start winning. I know that's like obvious, but it's true. Once you start winning and you start to feel, oh yeah, I remember what this feels like, you can like roll it on. But I think Verdugo will come back from the All-Star break refreshed, reset. I really do think he will bounce back. Is he going to bounce back to the type of production we had at the beginning of the year? I don't know. Maybe. But I think he will bounce back. I'm concerned about not having an everyday leadoff hitter. Because like you said, when G comes back, he'll be going down there to give protection. Yeah. Rice will be down there maybe, or will Rice be the leadoff? I don't know who, but we got to get the leadoff set, ASAP.
Yeah. And, I've seen a lot of Yankee fans. It's easy to play hindsight when hindsight is 50-50. Oh, we should have got this player. We should have got that player. I see a lot of people talking about Jerickson Profar, who had an amazing start to the season. He was hitting like 340, 350, but he's come back down to earth. Jerickson Profar for the season right now is hitting 301. he has a batting average of 240 in his last 10 to 20 games. So I know Grace is making that face because Grace is down in Texas, and Jerison Profar was a big prospect for the Texas Rangers, and he never lived up to the hype. So I get hindsight is 50-50 because we could look at also Ahmed Rosario. The Yankees were looking to sign Ahmed Rosario, and Ahmed Rosario said he didn't want to sign with the Yankees. He took less money to go to play with Tampa because he was guaranteed more playing time with Tampa. If Ahmed Rosario is with the Yankees right now, he would definitely be playing third base over DJ LeMahieu, right? So you could always live in the world of hypotheticals. We could always live in a world of hindsight. Reality is this is our roster. This is who we have right now. And do I expect the Yankees to keep playing at this same level? Absolutely not. I know we like to point back to 2022 and the way that team dropped off and that team fell off of the earth. When you compare 2022 to 2024, off the bat, we have Juan Soto. That's something we didn't have in 2022.
Absolutely.
All we had was Aaron Judge. That's all we had in 2022. And Giancarlo Stanton was going on the IL every day, every other week, right? So that's one. Secondly, right? Yes, in 2022, we had a healthy Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole in his last start, he looked like vintage Garrett Cole, 6 innings, 1 run. You expect him to keep this type of pace. But in 2022, you know what we also didn't have that we have right now? Luis Hill, who has been performing and exceeding all of our expectations.
Absolutely.
And he may have had a stretch of 3 starts of being rocky, but his last start was solid, and that's something good to build on, right? Do our bullpen, do we have big question mark at the end of our bullpen with Clay Holmes? Absolutely, we absolutely do. But in 2022, let's not act like we had a lights out closer in 2022, right? We had Clay Holmes as well. It's the same closer from back then that we have right now. So we didn't improve when it comes to our closer. So I get the panic, right? Like I said, since June 12th, this team has had the worst record in all of Major League Baseball. I do get that. But teams, they go through slumps. Our friend Erica came up here, and I'm going to keep on beating it like it's a dead horse, where she said that in baseball, it's a guarantee that you win 60. It's a guarantee that you lose 60. It's the next 42 games that determine if you're at home in October or you're in the postseason. And she is absolutely right. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. That's why it's important. The first 2 months of the season, you have the best record in baseball. So you could go through a 20 to 30 game stretch like you're going through right now and still only be 1 game behind the Baltimore Orioles. We're leading the top wildcard spot right now, right? We still have the 3rd best record in the American League. We're just in the best division in that league behind the Baltimore Orioles by 1 game. So again, take a sip of some water, go outside and touch some grass. And like my grandmother always says, cójalo con tranquilo.
Yeah. Well, let me say something too. Let's say that this. I know this is extrapolating something that's not real, but let's just go there. If we're gonna go there,
go ahead.
Let's say that this series was the ALCS, right? Or the ALDS. We were seeing the Orioles in the postseason. We played the top of our rotation, and they did too. We beat them 2 out of 3. If we would have done well in that last inning, we'd be going to the World Series right now.
Bingo.
You can't tell me also that just going on the eye test, if you watch this series, which I know everybody in the chat did because this was a huge series for us. If you watch this series, you can't tell me that the Orioles looked so much better than the Yankees. They didn't. And they weren't. We won the series 2 games out of 3 at their park.
Say it again, Grace.
So come on. It's not over.
And it's not like the Orioles aren't suffering from what we're suffering right now. The same way how Yankee fans we're out here complaining and crying and losing our cool over Clay Holmes. Oriole fans are doing the same thing with Craig Kimbrell. You think Oriole fans are happy that Craig Kimbrell is their closer? Absolutely not. Craig Kimbrell, when he made his major league debut, I was graduating high school. That's how long he's been in the major leagues. When he made his major league debut, just hear me out. When Craig Kimbrell made his major league debut, there was nothing called Instagram. Just let that sit in the back. There was no DoorDash. There was no Uber Eats. There was none of that. There was no streaming services. That's how long this man has been in the major league. There was no Disney Plus when he made his major league debut. All right. YouTube wasn't what it is right now when he made. There was no YouTube app when he made his major league debut. There was only the browser that you could go onto YouTube.
Jesus, and he still got the same bun. He still got the same bun. Jesus Christ.
There was no Fortnite. All right, I'm done. That's it.
Jesus. Oh my God. Listen, we're one game back. We still got a whole half of a season. Yankees, we're not out of it by no stretch of the means. We're not out of it. The Orioles have given us every opportunity in the world to stay in this fight. So thank you to the Orioles, because you had an opportunity to take this division and run with it, right?
Yeah.
As bad of a streak as the Yankees went, they are still just one game behind, and they are Clay Holmes inning from being ahead by one game, right?
Right.
So there are better days ahead. I truly believe that. But only if Brian Cashman backs up what he said by saying we're pretty effing good. So until he backs that up, guys, all we can do is ride with the team. I think, knowing Cashman's ego, this has got to be a real ego punch to the gut, the way they have played the last month and a half. And I'm sure in the back of Cashman's mind, he knows what he said. He remembers the rant. And now he knows he's got to back it, right?
Oh, yeah.
He has to. He knows he has to. Because what's your legacy going to be, Cashman? I think we're pretty effing good, and then you ish the bed. So Cashman knows he has to have a big trade deadline. He knows. Listen, Cashman's not known to be a creative man, but he's got to be creative. All right, use Brian Sabian, use Omar Minaya, use the people that you have right next to you. It's just right there in front of us. We're about to turn the corner. And I can't believe. Listen, I gotta say, Boone has to be trolling Yankee fans, because not only did he say that on Sunday, but he also added in, "We're turning the corner." So at that point, I said to myself, Boone has to be playing with us. He has to be messing with us. There's no way he said it again after that's all he's heard. Everybody clowning on him, but it literally is right there, right? So Cashman, get on the horn, do your job. Trade deadline's coming up. Be aggressive prior to this. It's slim pickings. So at this point, you got to be aggressive and get ahead of the curve and get ahead of these teams who are in it and who want the same pieces you do. What are you going to give up? What are you willing to give up? How much is a championship worth to you? How much is it not? And that's the question, and that's the dilemma that Cashman has to answer, not only to himself, but to Hal Steinbrenner. To Hal Steinbrenner's credit, he put the money down, right? He wrote the checks. You know, as many people want to complain about Hal Steinbrenner, he's cheap. Let's be serious. We have the highest payroll in baseball every single season, if not second or possibly third. It never really is third. So Hal Steinbrenner is not cheap by a long shot. No. The fact of the matter is when you spend that type of money, you expect something to come back. And Cashman hasn't delivered. He spent the money terribly. It's like giving a crackhead $1 million and expecting him not to spend it all on crack. So at the end of the day, get something done, Cashman. Jesus.
Well, trigger warning, if you're somebody that deals with substance abuse, just know that there's numbers out there for you. If you got $1 million, don't spend it all on the things that Damian just said, right? Be smart, right? There's numbers at 1-800-100 drug help. I need help, right? That's the number that you could call. But no, I get what you're saying, Damian, and I get what Yankee fans when they complain about Brian Cashman, right? I get that. And I said it on the last show. To us Yankee fans, all we care about are championships. That's all we care about. But let's not forget the fact that Brian Cashman, and I know this may tick you off, Damian. I see the vein on the side of your head pulsing right now as I'm talking, right? But let's not forget, when Brian Cashman took this team over in 1998, the New York Yankees were worth a little under $500 million. Under his leadership and under the leadership of the Steinbrenner family, the New York Yankees went from an organization worth $500 million to an organization that's worth a little under $8 billion. So to us fans, all we care about are championships. But to the shareholders, to the stockholders, to the business people that are part of the New York Yankees, do any of you guys think that they're upset at I have Brian Cashman handle the Yankees since 1998? Absolutely not. You know why? Because Hal Steinbrenner, he brought himself a new yacht like last year, right? Randy Levine, he got himself a private jet. There's a Twitter account that's actually out there that follows and tracks celebrities on their private account, and he tracks Randy Levine on his private jet, and he tracks Randy Levine on his private jet. That shit is hilarious.
That's gotta be the only person that tracks Randy Levine. By the way,
I was about to say that's the only person that tracks Randy Levine and where he goes about. So that's one thing. But no, secondly, as this trade deadline comes and as this trade deadline goes, let's just still have a good time rooting for this team, right? I hope Brian Cashman does what he has to do at this trade deadline to improve this team, because if he doesn't improve this team, the fans will let him hear it. If they thought the end of last season was bad, if we fumble the bag this year and we get embarrassed in the postseason, and God forbid, knock on wood, Juan Soto leaves and goes someplace else, you think Yankee fans are going to let Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner live that down? Absolutely not. They know that they have to improve this team. They know that they have to re-sign Juan Soto. You remember last year when Hal Steinbrenner, he told Brian Cashman not to buy at the trade deadline? What do you think he's going to tell him this trade? What do you think he's going to tell him this trade deadline? He's going to tell them, no, you need to go all in and do what you got to do to improve this team. It's just a wait and see process to see who he gets.
And shout out to Hal Steinbrenner for that, because everybody's flipping their wig, but the team was going nowhere.
Yeah.
So there was no reason to give away any of your chips for a losing season. So shout out to Hal for stopping any trade that possibly may have happened, because now those chips that you were going to trade last season, they're going to come into play this season for the trade deadline.
Yeah, and if he didn't care about winning, he wouldn't make that call, because that's not a money call. That's a prospect capital call, a winning baseball games call, a future of your franchise call. If he didn't care, he wouldn't have cared. But he obviously does care. He wants to win. You know, I believe that, and I want him to be writing checks and caring about winning. That's what I want him to do. But Hector, you brought up the point that, you know, Cashman, in his tenure, he's never had a losing season.
Yeah.
Never had a losing season. Tell me another GM who has had as long of a tenure as Brian Cashman who's never had a losing season. There isn't one.
Nope.
He's only missed the playoffs twice in all of that time.
Yeah.
And one of the seasons, I'm sorry, Grace, I'll throw it right back to you. One of the seasons is when Derek Jeter broke both of his ankles.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Yeah. Listen, how cares, right? So it is about money. We all know that, but he was willing to eat losing playoff money last season in order to make it count for this season. So, and everybody knows when it comes to playoff money, that's what owners salivate over. Whether it's a 1 playoff game, a 3 playoff game, whatever it is, that's big dollars to them, and that's a major loss for them. Not just in revenue from tickets, but sales, TV money, you name it. That's a big amount of money that comes back to them. It's a collective
pool. It's a pool of money. It's not like you only get money from that one game. No, it's a collective pool that they all share. All the teams that are in the postseason, they all share it.
So he was willing to take that loss to make it count for this season. So give him a little credit. I know sometimes fans and us, everybody, myself included, are giving Hal a hard time. But ultimately, the dude does care. He does spend his money. He's not a cheap guy. You know, for us to always expect him to go and pay 110% on a dollar on luxury taxes. A little crazy. Let's be honest, guys. I mean, if we were in the same position, we probably would not want to do it either. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No matter how rich you are, you don't become rich because you just throw money away. And that's literally throwing money away, giving other owners your money to make their teams better that they never spend it on. So I get that. I totally do. So listen, shout out to Hal again. Not trading anybody last season to make a losing team better because they weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, and
credit to Hal Steinbrenner when the Juan Soto trade was going on and Brian Cashman didn't want to trade Michael King. What did Hal Steinbrenner do? Got on that phone and said, "No, my guy, don't be stupid. You make the move. You make the move." And what happened? Juan Soto was a New York Yankee.
Absolutely,
point blank. Right, so you got to be able. We could be critical of the Steinbrenner family. We could be critical of Brian Cashman. But when they actually do moves or when they actually get stuff done that us fans have been calling, we have been calling for Juan Soto to be traded for the Yankees ever since he was with the Nationals. And we finally got Juan Soto, right? And I'm going to keep on saying this, coming into the season, every Yankee content creator, every open panel, we were all having the conversation that this team is not complete. We know that Brian Cashman at the trade deadline is going to have to improve this team. We had fans calling in the offseason to sign Blake Snell, to sign Jordan Montgomery, to sign Josh Hader. What are all three of those players? To sign Yamamoto. All four of those players are dog doodle, waste of money. Yamamoto's done, 60-day IL. Tommy John, Yamamoto is done. Look at all the moves that he didn't make and how they benefit. Because if we would have signed Yamamoto and he's down on the IL, 60-day, Tommy John, he's done for next year. Yamamoto's not pitching next year, right? And they still have to pay him. And your fans still would have went crazy. And they would have still been asking you to improve this team. And it's hard for you because you just handcuffed yourself with a $30 million contract for a guy who's on the IL in Yamamoto. So give him credit for not making the moves that all of us Yankee fans were screaming for.
The worst thing that could happen to us, I'm sorry, Damien. The worst thing that could happen to us as fans is that an investment firm acquires the New York Yankees.
Oh,
yes.
Because they would not care at all about winning. They would only care. Yeah, go ahead.
And go back to CBS, NBC owning the Yankees again before the Steinbrenner family.
Yes. That's why, I'm very interested to see, since the Orioles just got new ownership, what they're going to do at the trade deadline, how they're going to proceed going forward. I'm watching them with interest, but yeah, that is who we don't want. People who aren't even baseball fans owning the New York Yankees and just using them to make money, because the Yankees are a profitable business, and we love them for a different reason, right? But that would make any investment firm salivate over the chance to buy that team. And Hal consistently says, no, this is my family's legacy. This is my family's pride. I love the Yankees. I grew up in this family, and I will hand it down to my family when I'm gone. Right? That's what he always says. We want that, y'all. That's exactly who we want.
Exactly. The New York Yankees last year alone generated $720 million, and that's off of ticket sales. And this is according to Sportico.com, which is an independent organization that tracks ticket sales and how teams are doing. $720 million alone made off of ticket sales. Like Grace said, any investment firm will salivate. Do you guys know, again, I don't mean to get like too crazy or political or anything. Reason why rent is so damn high is because over 40% of the housing and rental market is owned by insurance firms.
Absolutely.
Do you think they give a damn about their tenants? You think they care about the living conditions or the living, how the buildings are, how the maintenance are for their buildings? Absolutely not. And it would be the same thing for the New York Yankees. Look at the Oakland Athletics. Perfect example. The Oakland Athletics, they're owned by a small business firm that have somebody who's in charge of it who's a bumbling idiot. They literally have duct tape taping the steps together in Oakland because the steps are falling apart. Y'all want that for the New York Yankees? Yankee fans that are screaming for the Steinbrenners to show this what y'all want? This is what y'all want.
It's the classic, thing. Everybody in the paradigm that where everybody's talking about right now, where the CEOs get more and more and more money and more raises, and all the people at the bottom, their salary stays the same. Everybody's talking about all these companies right now that are doing that. If Hal Steinbrenner could just shave, I don't know, $100 million off the salary, he would still be in, I don't know, middle of the road MLB teams, but he would have $100 million more in his pocket. This man does not do that.
Nope.
I'm just saying.
You could give him all the shit in the world when it comes to that patch on the side of the Yankees. I'm right there for you, right? That Star Insurance patch, you could give him all the BS in the world when it comes to that. I am right there for you. But when it comes to, like you said, Damian, like you said, Grace, you think Hal Steinbrenner wants to pay that crazy luxury tax? Like, if that was me, I wouldn't be trying to pay that. And I'm being honest with you. We brought it up on the show a few weeks ago. George Steinbrenner, as much as there is a love affair with George Steinbrenner and his nostalgia from the late 90s, George Steinbrenner the luxury tax wasn't implemented until 2005 and 2006. George Steinbrenner was known for hating the state of Florida and not wanting to pay taxes for George M. Steinbrenner Field. If he didn't want to pay taxes for George M. Steinbrenner Field, you think he wanted to pay luxury tax so other teams didn't have to pay for their players, and it was the Yankees who were paying for the Oakland A's payroll or the Kansas City Royal payroll? George Steinbrenner wouldn't have liked that either. He wouldn't have been down for that. He would have lost his mind. So again, I know there's a love affair with the late 90s and with George Steinbrenner, but we got to live in reality. And reality is when you look at our ownership group, if you look at the Steinbrenner family, us as Yankee fans, we have been spoiled for the past 30 years. Look at other teams. Look at the Cincinnati Reds. They had an owner who was well known and well loved. She had to sell the team because she was a bumbling racist. And then it's been horrible ever since they sold the team.
It's true. It's so true. Absolutely. 1000%. Couldn't have said any better myself. Yo, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I appreciate the day.
Appreciate you, brother.
Chat, you guys have been great. I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you guys on Thursday.
My man, Damian Serrano. And we may have a guest on Thursday. I'll let you guys know more or less who that guest is going to be. So make sure you guys stay tuned.
It's Hal Steinbrenner.
I wish it was Hal Steinbrenner. Grace, last takes before we get ready to leave. Just give us your last thoughts when it comes to the state of the New York Yankees. Dom on Twitter says, after this Orioles series, I fully believe there's no team in the entire league who threatens the Yankees more than themselves. If we stop making stupid mistakes, we would win a World Series. Mark my words. So, Grace, let's get your last words when it comes to the state of the Yankees. Folks in the chat as well, let's get your last takes, and we're going to wrap things up.
I mean, I agree. I think that the Orioles didn't win that game. We lost that game. If it hadn't been for the blunders, self-inflicted wounds, whatever you want to call it, in the 9th inning, we would have swept the Orioles going into the All-Star break. Not to quote Boone, but I do think we're turning a corner. I see more fight in the guys. I see more energy. Maybe I want to see it, but regardless, I feel like the All-Star break came at a perfect time. We had our first series win in a month. You know, you can't go back in time and fix the last 40 games. But if you just look at the last series we had, we went up against the best of the best, and we won the series. So don't give up on the team yet, y'all. We're all in this together. We're in a good spot. We're going to keep improving. We're going to get guys back. We're going to make acquisitions at the trade deadline. I really believe that we are more than just in the conversation. I think we're the team to beat. So if we can stop beating ourselves, we'll go to the World Series. I agree with Dom.
I want to agree with Dom also, because, you know, if we stop beating ourselves, if we stop giving other teams extra outs, extra opportunities to score on us, if we clean that up, this is a winning team. We saw it for the first 2.5 months of the season. For the first 2 months of the season, you saw what winning baseball looked like with the New York Yankees. We need to go back to that formula. And that formula was our starting pitching going at least 6 innings and our bullpen being rested enough that the 7th, 8th, and 9th guys were able to lock things up and close things down. Regardless of how you feel about Clay Holmes, his first 19 innings were phenomenal, scoreless 19 innings. And that's because the team was playing better defense, and that was the team was playing better overall. But again, Grace, appreciate you like always. Shout out to the chat. Make sure you guys tune in. This Thursday is going to be a dope episode. The Yankees, they don't play again until Friday, so we have some time off to rest, recharge our battery to get ready for the second half of the season. Make sure you guys watch the All-Star game that's later on today. But until next time, I'm Hector. That's my friend Grace Monroe, the bestie of forever and ever. Shout out to Damian Serrano. Also, Joe from the shift will be back next Tuesday. He had a late start this morning. He couldn't join us, but he will be back with us next Tuesday. But until next time, deuces, peace, drink some water, touch some grass, and let's go Yankees.